During this module, I explored various aspects of design and produced outcomes for each assigned task. In this video, I will take you through my design processes whilst reflecting on my work. Task A, background research. I started this project by researching Digdata and its social role. I found it to be a company that motivates people 12+ to explore the world of data and help them pursue careers in the data industry. I then combed their website and searched for any values they may have. I identified these as passion, inspiration, connectivity, inclusivity, empowerment and education. Task B, exploratory visuals. Based on my list of values, I was challenged to create exploratory visuals that focused on essential ideas instead of form. The brief stated the final infographic must include a visual representation of the brand values as well as the map. Since a map is an organic shape that I find hard to work with, I found examples of infographics. I then broke these down to their underlying grids, which helped me understand how to integrate type with an organic shape in a composition. I then did a mind map of pencil drawings that explored possible icons for each value I previously identified, and some more pencil drawings that explored data statistic visuals and map styles. Task C, visual identity. For this task, I accessed the brand resources folder provided, as well as Digdata's website and social media, to dissect and analyse their visual identity. I reviewed their logo, colour palette, colour usage, typefaces, layouts, conversation type, and design principles such as harmony and unity. I then researched companies DataCamp and HubSpot Academy, which perform a similar role to Digdata. Like with Digdata, I analysed their visual identities in the same manner. This was done so I could later identify commonalities between them. Once all three had been analysed, I then placed them within the same context so I could compare and contrast the visual identities, implementations, and conversation styles. Task D, visual proposals. I created 2 proposals. The first was of commonalities I'd identified between the brands, such as short text, bold headings, unity, and repetition. The second proposal was of contradictions like dynamic layouts, use of all caps, larger type blocks, and more maximalist approach. I decided to move forward with the contradiction proposal because the commonalities felt like restrictions on my creative thinking and produced less exciting results. From this proposal, I started designing and experimenting with various layouts and produced 3 outcomes. I abandoned the third design since it felt too off-brief. At this stage, I had 2 infographics that I liked but wanted to combine and develop further at a later stage. Task E, contemporary designers. I researched 3 contemporary designers and wrote a bit about them and their design styles. These designers were Kenichi Minami from Japan, Jessica Elena from Sweden, and Sarah and Misk from America. I then took my existing Digdata-inspired icons and applied each designer's style to them. This was tough because I had to integrate new styles while sticking to the Digdata brand guidelines. My favourites of the outcomes are inspired by Kenichi. I enjoyed creating them most and found the strong, straight and curved lines to create a bold and clear image that works well for an icon and could be scalable. Task F, considering media. I wrote a short report that concluded digital channels should take priority over traditional. An interactive change to their website regarding the map would allow people to identify Digdata locations and may gain them more students. I also noted that upgrading their social media to be more relevant and current could attract the brand more attention. I then considered practical constraints that I kept with me as I developed my work further. Task G, testing the value. This task asked me to consider how I would test the value and appeal of my design with the appropriate audience using social media. I think that Instagram is hugely underutilised and I know they have features like polls that could be excellent brand tools. I suggested leaving a poll on their story or posting an open question for people to reply to. These would ask if the user preferred design 1 or 2 and why. Task H, finalisation. Once all the research was done, I refined my design. Going back to my 2 proposals, I added notes on things I liked and disliked, then produced a final round of sketching. I then developed the final design whilst considering my conclusions from the previous task. I liked the Kenichi Minami icons I had designed previously, so altered these slightly to better fit the infographic. The final design is landscape, which is mainly appropriate for desktop and tablet users. I played with visual weight, hierarchy, and linking elements with different colours. The brief emphasised the importance of the values and map, so I gave these elements the highest visual weight. Once the infographic was complete, I created a mock-up of how the interactivity element would work on their webpage. To conclude, I think the final infographic meets all the requirements of the brief and radiates the fun-friendly vibe of Digdata whilst conveying information. I enjoyed my use of brand colours since I think they could easily overwhelm a design if not handled with care. I think there is slight room for improvement in the layout because the shape of the map was difficult to work with and created odd negative space around. Overall, I put 100% into the production and I enjoyed this project despite the layout being a little taxing to figure out. As a designer, I'm always growing and learning, and I feel the outcome is a good example of how I can approach an infographic brief in the future.